Okay, we should be all set. Again, welcome and thank you. Today's session from Xybion Corporation is a webinar entitled Addressing Compliance Issues in Medical Device Manufacturing. Today's session will last approximately 45 to 50 minutes, and we will allow for questions at the end of the session. I am Kevin Miller, the Online Programs Manager here at Xybion, joined by Dmitry Lavranov, Compliance Services Manager at Xybion Corporation. Today's session, we're going to cover several topics, and let me outline those for everybody today. For the agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about what some of the global issues facing medical device compliance today, monitoring file system changes, batch-to-batch consistency, auditing non-traditional database structures such as flat files, and then we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about the ComplianceBuilder architecture and show a little bit about this product, which is used by many medical device companies, known as ComplianceBuilder. We will go through a brief demonstration of how that product functions, how it's used by compliance professionals in medical device companies today. Summary, some conclusions, as well as a chance to engage in some Q&A with Dmitry today. Again, today's session is going to be recorded. We will make a on-demand copy of this session available to everybody who's attended, and you can share this with some of your colleagues. Again, I want to thank everybody that's joined us. For those of you who are in the Northeast, a special thanks for making time, given all that we've been dealing with up here as of late. A little bit about Xybion. Xybion is a company that is focused very strictly on the life sciences sector, and we've been developing relationships in this industry for over 20 years with a broad spectrum of enterprise-class solutions that span compliance, preclinical, quality management. And today's focus is very much around the ComplianceBuilder product and how that product is applicable to medical device manufacturing. We have a staff of highly trained regulatory consultants, and we bill ourselves as a total solution provider for compliance, and we'll talk a little bit about that and what that means to our customers at the end of today's session. So with that, just a couple of quick introductory slides. We want to kind of set the stage on what some of the issues that we hear from our existing med device clients are and how we translate that into products to help our customers do a better job of managing some of these critical issues. Global device development is certainly a big issue in the medical device community with new emerging markets in China and Brazil, and there is a growing trend for global development. And this begs a need for much tighter controls across a much more dispersed network than ever before, and keeping control of certain processes and data so that they're meeting the strict U.S. FDA guidelines is becoming increasingly difficult, especially when we're sourcing the fabrication and manufacturing in other areas. We have to ensure that the products that we're bringing back to market in the United States, of course, meet those FDA guidelines down to the letter. That's becoming an increasingly more difficult proposition for companies when we think of some of the things that we have to do in compliance, which we'll talk about. Competition, of course, from countries such as China is going to force U.S. manufacturing to ensure they are running a much more efficient and lower risk operation today than they have in the past. So competition is always the big issue, but also how we manage this new global network for development that we're challenged with. One of the big things that we've seen here at Xybion with our medical device clients over the years has been how do we monitor file system changes at a very granular level. And what do I mean by that? Well, changes in things like discrete files in a dispersed global network can have a very dramatic impact on the fabrication and manufacturing processes. File systems that exist in or even outside the enterprise on non-networked applications such as desktop Excel applications, that's a very daunting task. How do we monitor that? And what is the risk in our network? I mean, the example that we come back to oftentimes, if we've got a purchase order for a certain set of ingredients or components that have to be a certain way, and if there's any change made in the supply chain in a file that results in a deviation from what has been approved by the FDA, then that can have a cascading effect far down the line once we're into a spend of many hundreds, if not millions of dollars. So the risk is there, and the risk can hide in places which may not be that obvious. And again, oftentimes we're dealing with risk at a desktop level. When some person makes one change in a spreadsheet, the cascade effect can be dramatic and significant depending on the nature of the change. So let me take a step back here a second. It comes down to really managing consistency. The key to compliance oftentimes is in the consistency, and that consistency is difficult enough when we're dealing with operations in one country. But when those operations start to extend out to other countries and we're doing development in other countries, then that consistency becomes much more difficult, because what we ultimately want to do is we want to adhere to the FDA guidance and guidelines in the United States if that's where our product is going to be sold. One minor change in an order that changes the approved consistency of a product can result in inconsistent batch mixtures and fabrication, leading to a product that is out of compliance, really. Sources can come from the desktop, order processing, Excel, flat files, text files, and non-monitored files. And oftentimes these other files down at the desktop level, whether they're Excel, flat, or text, can be extremely, extremely difficult for compliance and quality assurance to get their hands on so that they can effectively monitor it. The other issue that we face, obviously, inside of a medical device manufacturing floor is the fact that each of these machines that we may be using in the fabrication process may, in and of themselves, have software that is unmonitored. And we're using much more high-technology machinery that comes with software in it that has to be calibrated for a certain level. If it's a knee replacement and we're testing the certain breaking strength of a component that's going to go into the fabrication of the implant, then that has to be made very consistent over and over and over again if we're going to adhere to the FDA regulations. So one minor change in a certain calibration setting, a certain machine on the floor, again, not unlike the change that's made in the order form in an Excel spreadsheet, can have a cascading effect that permeates the rest of the manufacturing process. So these are things that Xybion has focused a lot of attention and effort on over the years with respect to our med device clients to make sure we're helping them manage that consistency more efficiently and more effectively. Now, there are life sciences changes. Now, we of course have with us today Dimitri, and Dimitri's expertise is in life science compliance. So Dimitri, if you're okay, I'd actually like to invite you to come on, and if it's okay with you, we'll actually switch over to your deck if you can have your slide 8 up, and we can actually have you kind of pick it up from here. Is that okay?
No problem. Thank you, Kevin.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter, and you should see that pop up on your screen, and then we'll just go ahead and have you jump up on slide number 8. Okay, I see it fine.
Okay, good afternoon everyone again, and as Kevin mentioned, I've been working with ComplianceBuilder for quite some time. We started this product around 15 years ago, at the time when the first FDA 21 CFR Part 11 regulation came out, and been working successfully with different types of companies, medical device, pharmaceutical companies, providing them our software and providing them with implementation and validation services. So the slide which you see right now on my screen is actually explains and describes life sciences challenges, and this is where we are positioning our product. I mean, we can help companies with different types of global regulatory pressure from FDA. We can help with Sarbanes-Oxley regulations. We have quite a few companies which are actually using ComplianceBuilder in that respect. And also we can position ComplianceBuilder to help with the process analytical technology, which is listed on the bottom. And then this next slide, which is currently displayed, is actually showing what ComplianceBuilder as an application is capable of, and what it's actually doing as far as providing solution to different types of regulations. So again, as I mentioned in the previous slide, 3 key areas where ComplianceBuilder can help. It's a 21 CFR Part 11 compliance, Sarbanes-Oxley, and process analytical technology. And what ComplianceBuilder does very well, it monitors key data sources. And from the data sources perspective, there are 3 parts. It's the files on the workstations and servers. We can also monitor tables in the databases. We can do it for Oracle tables. We can do it for SQL Server database tables. We can also do it for the Microsoft Access databases. And the third key data sources would be process and manufacturing equipment. We can connect to the existing SCADA systems, the existing PLC systems, and collect data and create trend reports, create some audit trail information collected for you, so you will be able to provide, if that information is necessary, to the FDA or any other regulatory agency, proof that your system is 21 CFR Part 11 compliant. The next few slides will just show key benefits of ComplianceBuilder application. And the most important one is that by implementing, if you would decide to implement ComplianceBuilder, it can remediate multiple types of systems through one implementation, because it can, as it was mentioned on the previous slide, can work with the file-based systems, and those would be Microsoft Office documents, lab and instrument systems, flat files, and all type of file-based systems, all databases, and process control. And as an example, we just finished working with one of the clients which approached us about 7-8 months ago with a need of remediation of different systems which they have at their company, their facilities. They conducted gap analysis for different systems and came up with a list, and those systems were file-based systems and databases. So by implementing ComplianceBuilder as a client-server architecture at that company, we were able to provide this client with remediation of the multiple systems at the same time. Second key benefit, it's an add-on solution. So you do not need to revalidate your existing applications. ComplianceBuilder is an add-on. It sits on the top of the existing environments and does not interfere with any existing functionality. It requires minimal operational interference, and so your existing environments would be intact. You don't need to do anything in that respect. We also have layered security features available with the system. ComplianceBuilder controls user system access, Office application security, and file access control. We also provide private key encryption, digital signatures, and we provide also sign-off authorizations. From the key features perspective, again, I would not be providing like each specific detail, but most important thing that it has, ComplianceBuilder as an application has a centralized archive. All the data is stored in the secure database. We can support Oracle and SQL Server as a back end. There is user access control, and I will show you later on what this is in reference to, but user access control in reference to the different parts of ComplianceBuilder as an application where user can configure certain features, but also can view and run the reports. We provide data security, the key feature of the application, and we provide support for the network security. LDAP and Windows ADS is available as well. What ComplianceBuilder does when it's implemented, it creates a full audit trail. It collects actually in reference to the data files. When you monitor your file-based systems, we actually capture raw data, and we capture metadata as well for the files which are monitored. We can do comparison. We can compare Excel document and Word documents and show you previous and current revision of the file and show differences between those files. And also there is a XML support for the XML-based file systems. We can extract through the application XML attributes and show it on the report what was the previous value and what is the current value of the that attribute.
So real quick, Dmitry, I know you've worked with a lot of these clients in the med device sector for many, many years. What are some of the key risks that they're attempting to mitigate by monitoring these different types of files?
Basically what clients do, and I actually have a file, I mean, I can open it too. I mean, what our clients do, they start with 21 CFR Part 11 list of regulations. And that list would include ability to collect audit trail information. So this is what ComplianceBuilder does very well. It collects audit trail information, provides you with information who made the file change, timestamp, and the reason for the file change. It provides secure login into the application. A lot of different applications, especially legacy applications, including, for example, Microsoft Access, don't have secure login, and this is one of the 21 CFR Part 11 regulations where there is a requirement for the users to have unique ability to log in into the application using their unique user ID and the password, and that information should not be compromised and should not be changed by anyone. So this is what ComplianceBuilder does the best. And then another feature which ComplianceBuilder provides and which is used by our clients is the e-signature. So when the record is modified, and that applies to file-based system, it applies to the databases as well as the process control, ComplianceBuilder prompts users to apply e-signature, meaning it has to provide network user ID and the unique password which user has throughout the company network, and also provide reason for the change. So it would be recorded and displayed in the report as well. So this is what our clients use the most. I mean, it varies from client to client because the way we work with our clients, that based on the gap analysis which client usually conducts on their systems, then we would recommend how to use ComplianceBuilder, how to configure it, and how to use to remediate their system with the maximum efforts.
Great. Thank you.
So that's in reference to the key features. Now, as far as the ComplianceBuilder goes, ComplianceBuilder has 3 subsystems. And functionality, again, it's available out of the box. When installed, it can work right away with the file-based system. It can work right away with the databases. It can work right away with the process control equipment. And talking about each individual system, it is very, I guess, obvious from the ComplianceBuilder perspective to show the first one. So the first system is called ComplianceBuilder File. This functionality of ComplianceBuilder is designed to detect file changes, and ComplianceBuilder works such a way it's monitoring file directories which were specified through the ComplianceBuilder configuration. And then when the file is created, modified, or deleted in that specific directory, ComplianceBuilder will automatically upload file change to the server and create a complete audit trail. Again, it's very important to use this part for the specified file directories, but also ComplianceBuilder, in addition to this functionality, can prevent users from deleting files in that directory. So deleting portion will go away, so ComplianceBuilder will only apply to creation and modification of the files, because in some cases it's very important to our clients to prevent users deleting files going directly to that location. So the way ComplianceBuilder will work, it will only enable ability to delete files through that application, which possibly can do certain maintenance, but user going directly to the folder or file location would not be able to delete any files. ComplianceBuilder file system can monitor files displayed on this slide. For the Microsoft Excel and Word, we can provide compare feature. We can compare previous and all revision of the files and provide that reporting capability. We can also monitor Microsoft Access files as well. All the files listed on this page, as you can see, lab instrument, data files, PDF files, data sets, everything is available with ComplianceBuilder file-based configuration, but in reality it's any file-based system. So from the ComplianceBuilder perspective, we really don't need to know the file type. I mean, for certain file types we have more extended functionality, as I mentioned, for the Excel and for Word, and for the XML-based we can extract data attributes, but we can work pretty much with any type of files, capture fact that the file was modified, capture previous and current revision of the file, and capture user ID and the reason for the file changes in the system. Second, ComplianceBuilder subsystem called ComplianceBuilder database. ComplianceBuilder can detect changes by monitoring database-related activities. So pretty self-explanatory action by ComplianceBuilder. We point ComplianceBuilder to monitor, for example, tables in the Oracle database and capture all changes and create audit trail report. We point ComplianceBuilder to monitor SQL Server database files, and this is ComplianceBuilder does very well, and it will show you current and previous value of the specific field in the database. We can configure it up to the database and field level, which fields to monitor, which tables to look at, and which tables to skip if that table is not needed to be monitored and doesn't need to have audit trail information. And again, when change is detected, ComplianceBuilder uploads information into the server, stores everything into the SQL Server or Oracle database as a back end, and provides the ability to create audit trail. ComplianceBuilder database systems, it's database-based applications. Any of them can be, ComplianceBuilder can be utilized batch systems and custom developed database-based applications. So once again, it is application related activity where ComplianceBuilder, again, we do analysis at the first phase of the project. When we initiate the project, we would look at your applications and at your databases, and we would provide recommendations how to use ComplianceBuilder. But from the application perspective, any databases mentioned in the previous slide, as far as SQL Server, Oracle, or Microsoft Access, can be utilized with ComplianceBuilder. And the third ComplianceBuilder subsystem called ComplianceBuilder Process Control. And ComplianceBuilder Process Control was designed to collect data from the SCADA systems, and we very well connect to the SCADA system as Wonderware or Fix. And also we can connect to any of the PLC systems, and PLC, standalone PLC or PLC which is working together as some system environment. And those PLC, we connect to them through the OPC server. We collect data, we create reports, we provide audit trail information, so all this information is available through ComplianceBuilder reports. And as far as ComplianceBuilder Process Control and Manufacturing Systems that ComplianceBuilder can monitor, those ones are listed on this page. And we can work with all of those systems, but in reality, again, it is any OPC-based system which is available. We can connect and collect the information. As far as actual parameters and information which ComplianceBuilder can collect, it applies to alarms, setpoint changes, machine parameters. And just to explain the way ComplianceBuilder works, again, since it's sitting on the top of the existing system, we are in no way trying to change anything what is already in place. We can add value. We can provide you with additional alarms. We can provide you with setpoint changes, collecting them. So your existing system will work as it is working right now. ComplianceBuilder will do all the work. You don't need to validate your existing environment, and with minimal investment and interaction can add value and provide 21 CFR Part 11 to your existing environment. From the implementation and configuration of ComplianceBuilder, there are two possible scenarios how ComplianceBuilder can work. One of them is a standalone. This is when we install ComplianceBuilder on one workstation, and that one workstation can be even offline, doesn't need to be on the network. All the information is collected locally. We install a small version of SQL Server in that case and collect all the data locally for that particular workstation. You can see it's mentioned, actually, there is an Instron name mentioned. We are partners with Instron, so anytime Instron would require ComplianceBuilder for their existing applications, we would come in and install it together with their service engineers. Second possible ComplianceBuilder implementation is networked, and this is where ComplianceBuilder is used as a client-server architectural implementation. We install ComplianceBuilder server, which is displayed over here on the bottom of the screen, and we install ComplianceBuilder agents throughout the company, and those agents collect audit trail information for any of the equipment or applications which are in use at the company, and send all this data to the ComplianceBuilder server, which is processed, stored, and then through the reporting functionality, user can view and see all the audit trail information related to that particular instance. Components of ComplianceBuilder, and I will go briefly describing what it consists of from the IT perspective. It has, as I mentioned, since it's a client-server application, it has ComplianceBuilder server component. It's a computer, it's a server itself, plus it's also service which is running on that box. It's communicating with all clients working with ComplianceBuilder architecture, runs as a service. It can issue notifications to different workstations. It receives archives data for the file systems, for the database systems, and for the shop floor system. It can be implemented as a cluster, a single architecture, and cluster can provide failover capabilities. Second slide in reference to the ComplianceBuilder architecture and components is displaying ComplianceBuilder agent. This is a widely used component of ComplianceBuilder. This component, which is a very small footprint from the implementation perspective, is actually responsible for collecting all the information. As you can see over here on this slide, this screenshot is showing that the file test XML file was modified, and ComplianceBuilder captured this information, including some file attributes. This information, as soon as captured, is sent to the ComplianceBuilder server to be stored in the database and be available through the, again, reporting functionality to be displayed all the information related to this particular file change. The way agent is working, that it's working independently. If connection to the server is lost, it will store data locally and then upload this information into the server as soon as the information is restored. Again, I already mentioned, but we'll repeat it again. So ComplianceBuilder agent is responsible for displaying notifications, which was displayed on the previous slide. It can prompt user for the acknowledgement sign-off. If I go back one step, you see there is a part on the bottom of the screen which says comments, user ID, and the password. As soon as you click on the file on the top of the screen, it will open field on the bottom. You will need to put a reason for file change on the bottom of the screen, as well as the user ID and the password. And then the main functionality of ComplianceBuilder agent to monitor changes to files on local workstations and servers. And then the back end of ComplianceBuilder, as I mentioned, it's an Oracle SQL Server database. It has all functionality built in that if ComplianceBuilder loses connection to the database or loses connection to the agents, all information is stored locally and then restored and uploaded. So ComplianceBuilder is self-containing. It doesn't lose any data in any point of time if certain components of the application losing connection to other components throughout the lifetime of the process. And then the last and the most part, which is visual for the end user from the administrative perspective, is a ComplianceBuilder web component. And this is where ComplianceBuilder shows all the pieces collected throughout the monitoring different data sources. So right now you see it's displaying different file directories on the left-hand side, all of the files which were monitored. So it also collects file revision. So it works, and you will be able to actually download back into your environment previous files if needed. So ComplianceBuilder has all this information, as well as information about the timestamp and the person who made the file changes in the application. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, we'll actually take those via the question function. I wanted to let everybody know that you can field a question by simply entering it in the question function on the panel. What I'd like to share as well with the group is, as you're going into some of those other screenshots, Dmitry, is tell us a little bit about the applicability of this and some of the risk factors that exist in some of the manufacturing floor equipment that has software on it, because I think that's one of the very compelling things about how this can help a company ensure consistency in terms of calibration of those machines.
In reference to the consistency of the data, ComplianceBuilder can be used just simply to monitor all the changes which were applied to different devices. So when the change is applied, ComplianceBuilder would capture the change the same way it would do it for any other data source in the system. And when the change is applied, ComplianceBuilder will capture it, store it, and provide information about how this change was applied, who made the change, and the reason for the change with a timestamp.
Okay. And in your experience in working with a lot of companies over the years, is it your feeling that oftentimes maybe some of these machines in the manufacturing facilities that have software are oftentimes not connected to the overall compliance initiative?
There are different cases. I mean, that's one of them, that there are some legacy applications still running on different company sites, which may require just a single standalone ComplianceBuilder implementation to remediate and to bring it to the scope of the whole compliance initiative. So that's one of the cases. Other case might be that we would need to do it on the bigger spectrum, as we did, as I mentioned, 2 months ago when we finished project with one of the bigger companies, where they just were looking to bring their compliance initiative and use well-known application, which is ComplianceBuilder, to provide them with all the capabilities and functionality of it.
That's great. And then I understand you're also going to bring up a few screens to show how this works in a live environment?
Right. I will show a few screenshots. It would be a semi-demonstration just to show you what exactly ComplianceBuilder would do in special cases. So, for example, right now on the screen you see opened Microsoft Excel document, and this document has certain number of columns with values entered. So when the end user would modify, and for example right now the modification was applied to the column A3, and the value was entered as 55. As soon as that value is entered and file is saved, ComplianceBuilder agent would come up on the screen, and you see it right now on my screen. So as you can see over here, it would display the file, it would display the timestamp, which is, I did this screenshot a few minutes before this meeting, workstation name, event username, and important to mention that ComplianceBuilder has capability even if in some cases certain companies would have a generic application or generic workstation login. ComplianceBuilder can provide you with the functionality to force user to put and use their unique user ID, network user ID, which means this would provide the ability to capture user ID on the screen.
You may want to, just real quick, Dmitry, switch in your upper left-hand side to full screen reading, because it'll make the image a little bit bigger. It's in print layout right now. Upper left of Microsoft Word. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, that's not making it bigger. Then maybe down the bottom right, do it at about maybe 100 or 200%.
Let me see if I can change it to. So once again, when ComplianceBuilder, and this is the ComplianceBuilder agent, would capture this change, user would be prompted to put user ID and the password. And the next slide shows actually this. So as you can see over here, I entered a comment that the file was modified on November 7. You can put any number of characters over here, especially saying the reason why this file was modified. I entered my user ID and the password, and then I will click Acknowledge button. So ComplianceBuilder agent will be minimized. Data will be stored in the ComplianceBuilder server database. And as far as future reference, so this is the ComplianceBuilder report. And ComplianceBuilder report actually displays, and this is the end result of all the ComplianceBuilder functionality. So in the event that you will need to show to any authority audit trail information for certain file directories or certain files, this is how it would look like. As you can see over here, this one is actually displaying 2 files which were modified, which has version 59 and 60. It has my name, it has information on the person who applied the signature, and it also has information about why this file was changed as it's displayed with the comments. In addition to that, there is another file which I will show you in a second that was looking at some method file for the application which is used by our partner Instron to run some tests on the pool testers. But I mentioned before that ComplianceBuilder can also provide the ability to force user to enter user ID and the password for the applications which don't have that functionality. For example, for the Microsoft Access, as you can see over here, there is a shortcut which is created by ComplianceBuilder. It says Microsoft Access CB file. So if you just simply click on the Microsoft Access menu item, system would not let you open Microsoft Access application or Microsoft file which you're trying to open. But on the other hand, if you click on the secure shortcut created by ComplianceBuilder, it will prompt you to put your user ID and the password, and it will open that application. So after application is opened, and this is my next slide over here, after application is opened and saved, ComplianceBuilder will capture changes. So this is how ComplianceBuilder will display ComplianceBuilder audit trail report. As you can see on the top, it says SQL data change report. So all the changes applied to the databases would be displayed like this. It will be old value, new value of the record with all the other information displayed for that particular record. So this is in reference to the ComplianceBuilder file and database functionality. In addition to that, ComplianceBuilder can be used to remediate, as I mentioned before, any of your existing applications which for some reason may not have built-in audit trail capabilities. And this is one of the examples. There is an application called Blue Hill which is used by our partner to conduct testing on their pool testers. So we applied ComplianceBuilder to that application. ComplianceBuilder would prompt users to put user ID and the password. After this process is completed, ComplianceBuilder will go to the background per se, and it will start your application. And this example will show that any of the applications which you may have, which would require to have audit trail capabilities as well as a secure login to your application, can be used with ComplianceBuilder. So this is the application which started. Application would start, and certain parameters in the application, in the method file, as you can see over here, can be modified and then saved. And as soon as the parameter is saved, ComplianceBuilder will capture that change. So this is the end result, again, of the audit trail functionality of ComplianceBuilder. As you can see over here, this method file was modified. It has all the information. It has my name as the person who made the file change. And again, since this file is XML-based file, we can also extract XML attributes. It's not this report, but there is some other screen which is not captured on this particular presentation, which you can display actually all the changes, specific changes which were applied to that file. The next slide is showing how ComplianceBuilder can work with the process control equipment. So this is ComplianceBuilder working together with the Intellution SCADA system. And again, just to give you an idea how does it work, we connect real-time with SCADA Systems. So this is a picture of the actual mixing tank application. And ComplianceBuilder would connect directly to each of the SCADA points and would read value in real time. As you can see over here, I can click on ComplianceBuilder actually to read the value from that particular application. So again, consider this as an add-on to your existing application. If you don't want to revalidate it, if you just need to collect additional set points or additional alarms, you can use ComplianceBuilder to do that. So this is the configuration part where ComplianceBuilder will connect and be able to read data in real time, and as a result of that, you will be able to run certain reports. One of them will be tag change report. So if you tag changed, ComplianceBuilder, for whatever tag ComplianceBuilder is configured, will be able to provide you. Right now, it's configured to collect data for the fill rate on that picture. So here, if I go back, you can see that this is a fill rate set point. So anytime this value changes, ComplianceBuilder will be able to capture this because this is how it's configured. In addition to that, ComplianceBuilder also can give you a trend report, and this trend report also is displaying some values for the fill rate. So I guess at the beginning, fill rate was turned to 0. That's why there is no information. So I just take a quick screenshot of the trend report, but there is more variety of how to create a trend report in ComplianceBuilder and what data you can see. So this is all the screenshots I was planning to show you. Again, ComplianceBuilder is very easy to use, easy to maintain application. It is, once it's installed and up and running, it is pretty much self-contained. I mean, we don't see much of the client's request to, for technical support. It's only when they need to add certain points to the application or certain files which they need to monitor, or maybe additional directories. So this is where we may be contacted. But for the most part, application runs on its own, collects data, and has the ability to provide end user with the reports when that need is for whatever, when it's needed. I think, Kevin, I'm at the end of my part and would like to answer questions if there are any.
I appreciate that. And let me go ahead and grab control back from you a second here. Okay, we get down towards the end of it. There were a few questions on the floor that had come in, and one of them was, what are some common types of equipment that you've monitored with ComplianceBuilder in a med device facility? And I know you touched on a couple of them. There was it looked like some mixing equipment, but maybe you could share just a couple of examples.
One of them would be pool tester, which applies to our partner Instron. This is where we monitor test methods and actual changes to the method file itself. We also provided ComplianceBuilder to monitor gas plasma sterilization process at one of our client facilities. So ComplianceBuilder is actually monitoring that process and provides different parameter changes and audit trail information for that process. And I would say probably 50% of our clients are using ComplianceBuilder to monitor different types of data files. So they would use ComplianceBuilder and would identify critical files on their systems and would install ComplianceBuilder agents on their data files, data servers. Our bigger clients would have data servers located, for example, in 3-4 locations, and we would install ComplianceBuilder in North America, but ComplianceBuilder agents would be installed in Europe, in South America, and in North America as well, and will collect data from the data files and data servers located in different locations.
Great. And other question was, how is the application licensed?
Applications can be licensed as based on the implementation scenario which I was describing earlier. So if it's a standalone application, this is a standalone type license, and second license is, in addition to that, we also have unlimited site license. So this is when client can implement ComplianceBuilder and, for example, install and monitor 3 pieces of equipment and maybe 5 directories with the data files, and later on add additional pieces of equipment and data files with no additional fee.
Okay, great. And those were the 2 that I wanted to address. Certainly, if there's others, folks are welcome to send those in directly, and we'll give you the contact information at the end. So obviously, this is all part of what Xybion calls a total closed-loop compliance solution, which consists of several things. There's applications and there's infrastructure, both on and offshore, on-premise, off-premise, which are maintained and operated by Xybion. That includes the different applications. The one, obviously, that we focused on today, which is most relevant in med devices, of course, ComplianceBuilder. There's also apps that exist for things like drug development, management, compliance, validation, common practices. There's lab and data management, data repository. There's collaboration solutions, and then ultimately a client-delivered solution. So Xybion operates in a number of different levels in compliance in various areas of life science, with obviously our focus today being to discuss med device and talking about the relevancy of the ComplianceBuilder solution, how we can get a better handle on the different file types and applications so that we can ensure the highest level of adherence to various regulations like 21 CFR 11. Questions that can come in that you didn't get a chance to ask today, or any additional questions about the application, including a live one-on-one demo of that app, can be directed directly to Dimitri, Compliance Services Manager. I have his contact information up here. I'll leave it up here as we wrap the session up. Anybody can feel free to reach directly out. You can reach us through the web as well. We're going to send a few follow-up items as a result of this, including a case study and a new case study that we're working on for another med device company right now. So be on the lookout for that, as well as an email with a link to view the on-demand version of this. Dimitri, I want to obviously thank you for joining us today and taking us through the product and showing how there's relevancy in the product to what folks may be facing and challenges they may be facing in the med device community. So we're going to go ahead and wrap the session up. And again, Dimitri, if you want to sign off and say thanks to everybody, I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everyone, and I'm looking forward to working with you. If you have any questions, I would go forward and would hire Xybion to implement ComplianceBuilder.
Thank you very much, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you.